State Representative Jonathan Goudeau joining us on the line for an update to yesterday's conversation. And sir, hey, thanks so much for letting us get back with you this morning, and kind of curious as to how things went yesterday.
Thank you, and good morning. Thanks for having me again. It went well. I'm pleased with the turnout. The only issues, I voluntarily deferred it for several reasons. One was because they're wanting more of a study done and giving the sheriffs and DAs more time for us to have more dialogue to address their concerns, and I'm okay with that. When you have such a large bill, it's expected to go 2-3 years to get through. I think we can do it sooner than that. The concern, DOTD's answer to the bridge problems was putting speed cameras. I don't know if you were listening to that or not.
Yes.
The issues with the speed cameras, it's not going to stop the speeding, and it also becomes a civil issue too.
Yeah.
But more of a bigger concern I have with that, Bernie, is the speed cameras will bring some attention to the speed on the bridge, but it won't stop it. But the bigger concern is, what about breakdowns? What about debris in the roadway? How do those cameras address that? They don't. I'm bringing this bill to bring safety back to that bridge, and also to stop to enhance the commerce flow of that bridge, because I-10 is the largest interstate corridor in the nation for commerce.
Ooh,
it has
boy,
more 18-wheelers on that interstate than any other interstate in the nation. We cannot afford to keep that thing shutting down so much.
Wow. Okay, so, there was discussion that happened yesterday because of, okay, let's defer it. Let's look at it a little bit more. What do you think? Okay, let's go back to the cameras first. I know philosophically, people hate cameras, right? I mean, well, I shouldn't say people. A lot of people do not like those cameras, right? But let's say
it didn't work in Lafayette.
Right? I mean, exactly. But now speeding is worse than ever in Lafayette. So that's a rough spot. But what if speeding cameras, just to get it all started, would that be something that you would consider? Or do you think it's just too much of a situation where people wouldn't go for that either?
I think it's prolonging the inevitable. If you want to spend the money on these the license plate reader speed cameras they're proposing, that's one thing. And again, my past on law enforcement history, and those two sheriffs in that meeting could attest to it, it's not going to stop the speeding. They're going to continue to speed. Our guests coming in from Texas and from Mississippi, they're not going to even pay those citations.
Care.
It's a huge civil issue as well, too.
Yeah.
Now, the question with that is, and people are thinking, okay, if we're going to try to get rid of speeders without a police force for the bridge itself, why not give state police more funding to allow Troop A and Troop I to put more troopers along the spans? Is that any part of the consideration?
That was discussed in last year's session, and the funding, not only just with COVID, just is not there. The troop is 135 troopers short. Roughly an academy, when it starts, you have about 50 cadets that go, and you have on average 20 to 25 that graduate. So if you do the math, annual, they're 2 years behind on the academy because of COVID. Even if they start these academies back up again, they're not going to catch up for 4 or 5 years at 135 troopers short. This area here has 3 troopers to work at 8 parish area right now. So this project is going to relieve the state of that problem of satisfying that they can put these troopers somewhere else.
And then that leads to the question, I know there were issues with the St. Martin sheriff, the Iberville sheriff. Are they proposing putting more of their people on the bridge?
Those both, again, all 3 agencies have said, look, we don't want our people on the bridge. It's dangerous. But so if they're proposing to get more funding to add 2 more patrol cars to each sheriff's department, and I'm not opposed to that if these units will be dedicated to that bridge.
Now that could be something that could be interesting. Let's talk also real quick, because we only have a couple minutes left, about the realities. At least in my mind, recruiting is going to be tough, I would think, for law enforcement across the board. I mean, what a heck of a time to try to get men and women to get into that line of work.
Funny you should say that, Bernie. That was actually discussed at dinner last night with troopers, and the discussion of my bill got brought up, and that was part of that discussion. Was it's hard to get people to join any police force right now because of the toxicity of the environment of law enforcement. Mm-hmm. It's not a good situation, so it's going to be tough to get people, period, to join. Doesn't matter what department.
Well, I think, yeah, definitely. Well, we will continue to obviously keep up with this. And I know, Ian, you got one quick thing.
If the bill was voluntarily deferred, any chance we'll see it come back during the session?
Yes, that's going to be the proposal. I'm giving the two DAs and two sheriffs a week or 2 weeks to come back to the table, and let's address your concerns, see if we can incorporate and amend the bill to everyone's satisfaction. And so that's going to be the proposal. This study they're wanting to do, I've done a year study and already, and the Causeway Bridge, and y'all is proof positive that this can be a successful program.
Okay. Well, we are going to continue to follow this. State Representative Jonathan Goudeau, thank you for making yourself available for listeners to hear from you. Appreciate it, sir.
Awesome. Thank you. Y'all have a great day. Stay dry.
Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
All right, we're hoping to, at 8:35 this morning, talk to Mike Huval. I've reached out to him. Haven't heard anything back yet. Mm-hmm. Still going to try to do that to talk about some of his legislation. So it's just great to hear from the lawmakers themselves.
Yes.
It's coming up now on 7:56. Time for Fox Biz. On the way, Fox News and more local news coming up.